In just two states, all prisoners can vote. And most of the time, when this topic is brought out, the person who has this discussion usually says, if we break the law, you lose your rights, or voting is a privilege and can be taken away. However, a group called NAACP thinks otherwise. They believe that prisoners deserve to have a right to vote in prison and outside. They support it since there have been prisoners who are trying to integrate into society and vote in federal elections. Voting can make us feel part of a large community when we come together and make a decision that can do a huge impact. Hi, good afternoon or evening. My name is Manuel Peralta and I'll be talking about why should prisoners be allowed to vote. To illustrate better, we can begin with the questions that everyone starts with within this discussion. Why take voting away? Roger Clegg, the co-author of the Texas Review of Laws and Ethics, stated that only those who are trustworthy and loyal to the Republic should be allowed to vote. People who are not good and who don't have a national interest at heart, as demonstrated by their unwillingness to obey the law, do not deserve to vote. However, Mark Maurer stated that there is no evidence to suggest that somebody who burgles a house or steals a car or even murders somebody can't be trusted to decide which candidate has better immigration policies or whatever. Clegg stated that prisoners didn't deserve to vote. He didn't mention that it may bring bad consequences, since it wasn't true. With two states allowing vote, there has not been any increase in crime. When we talk about this in more detail, our answers can fall into two of the following: consequentialism or retributivism. Do we legally punish people because it achieves good consequences, such as reform or deterrent, or are we doing it because they deserve retribution and consequences don't matter? Consequentialism is a doctrine that is a morality of an action is to judge solely by its consequences. Retributivism is a policy or theory of crime justice that advocates to the punishment of crime and retribution for the harm that has been inflicted. In my personal view, I support the consequentialism position. If we prevent prisoners to not vote, it becomes an obstacle to prisoners who are trying to rehabilitate to be part of our community once their sentence is done and ready to return. The Prison Reform Trust stated that social exclusion contributes to reoffending. Reoffending is commit a further offense, such as a person who is gonna reoffend commit another crime following release from jail. If we follow the right of vote to prisoners, we can cause a major impact that can affect voting results in prisoners, and also be an obstacle to prisoners who are trying to rehabilitate on a right track to be once part of society. Now that we have discussed the problem of the discussion and the hot topic that has been talked for many years, I created a survey for the public to answer and provide what they thought about. What the public thinks about this is that was stated when I created the survey for the purpose for the public to hear what they thought about this topic with various questions to know more. The data from the public split it into two sides. The public answered questions such as, do you believe in prisoners should have the right to vote? Do you believe that allowing prisoners to vote will have a positive effect or will have a negative effect? When asked the public, responses split on positive and negative if prisoners are allowed to vote. Two responses from both sides caught my eye since they do make a point. One of the answers from the response on the positive effect stated that yes, because it will help stop gerrymandering. And another response, but in the negative effect, stated that due to prisoners being in prison in different states, their vote wouldn't belong in their state that they are from. Lastly, if this is enough to change your mind and inform you why prisoners should vote, we introduce two groups who support prisoners are being able to vote in prison and out of prison. According to the NAACP, National Associate for the Advocate of the Advancement of Colored People, they stated that almost 4 million Americans, or 1 in 50 American adults, are not allowed to vote because they have been convicted of a felony, regardless of the nature or seriousness of the offense. 3/4 of these Americans are no longer in jail. As such, 13% of African American males, 1.4 million, are prohibited from voting. Since voting is an important role to us to be a part of a community, to make a decision and make a change, they have been working for other like-minded groups to develop legislation that would allow that would like to integrate themselves into society and vote into federal elections. They also stated that Congress John Conyers and Senator Russ Feingold have reintroduced that Democracy Restoration Act, re-enfranchising ex-felony offenders once they were released in prison. Prison Fellowship, another group that supports the prison voting rights yet only supports the prisoners that are being incarcerated and brought back to society, should be allowed to vote outside of prison. They stated that the felony disenfranchisement dates back to English colonists. It is limited right to vote and violate the moral code. It is also extended back when Jim Crow laws were still active. African American prisoners seem to be impacted by this much as other groups of races or from what they are, or from where they are. To come to a point, I believe that prisoners should be allowed to vote in prison and outside of prison right after being released. It doesn't seem that I have a negative impact. Many prisoners in prison have been trying to rehabilitate and be ready when they're ready going to be introduced once again to public. We can give them a chance to be part of the community and having them being part with us to make a change of society. Thank you.